This is a Procter & Gamble case analysis for strategic management in technical organizations, also referred to as Engineering Management Course 539 at the University of Tennessee. This presentation is by Amy Albaugh, the speaker, Jared Hajek, and Adam Thomas. Procter & Gamble will be referred to as P&G throughout this presentation. We will start with an analysis of Procter & Gamble. Procter & Gamble is a consumer goods corporation established in 1837 and is currently based in Cincinnati, Ohio. P&G is involved in the packaged consumer goods industry and focuses on the production and sales of 10 product categories with 65 brands. This is an image of the portfolio of products that P&G manages. You'll see the 10 product categories listed at the top and some of the 65 brands under each of their respective product categories. The ones shown in the presentation are some of the most popular brands in their product categories. P&G's vision statement is to be and be recognized as the best consumer products and services company in the world. P&G's mission statement is that P&G will provide branded products and services of superior quality and value that improve the lives of world's consumers. P&G values include leadership, ownership, integrity, passion for winning, and trust. We felt that this was an interesting mix of values when they pair passion for winning and integrity and trust. It shows that they are competitive, but they want to do it in the right ways, and we could relate to that. P&G goals include value creation, portfolio management and focus, innovation, productivity improvement, environmental responsibility, also very commonly referred to by P&G as sustainability, and social responsibility. This is a table identifying P&G's external and internal stakeholders and displaying which of these stakeholders are supportive or unsupportive of P&G goals. For this table, a green X means supportive, a red O means unsupportive, a light green plus means supportive but only for financial reasons, and a yellow dash means that the stakeholder is either indifferent or could go either way. All internal stakeholders are supportive of P&G's goals. Some may only be supportive for financial reasons, but they are still supportive. Competitors are obviously unsupportive of each of the P&G's goals. Even if they are supportive of environmental and social responsibility goals, they do not want P&G to gain favor because of these goals. So they are obviously unsupportive. We felt that the stakeholder opinions on P&G goals were very much circumstantial. Depending on the situation, these stakeholders could go either way, which we feel is the same with stakeholders for our own companies. Moving on to the P&G pestle analysis, political factors include a focus on globalization. However, there is a shift toward populism in the U.S., and this could lead to costly import tariffs. Economic factors include a growing wealth in developing countries, emerging middle classes of staggering size, so consumer products are becoming increasingly attainable and desirable. The pestle analysis continued, looking at sociocultural factors. There is a desire for high-quality, health, wellness-focused, and organic products in consumers. There's also a trend of distrust in large brands, with consumers preferring small, purpose-driven brands. These trends are partly due to the age of consumers, and so P&G needs to be aware of this. And then there's also always the focus on population growth. The larger the population grows, the more business this could mean for P&G. Moving to technology factors, a large area for technology factors is involved in e-commerce. There's also new software systems that digitize business data, putting data in the hands of important decision makers easier. With added technology, there's better fuel efficiency for transportation and lower costs. And then P&G specifically has focused on technology such as Smart Labels app and Pure Cycle Technologies partnership. Smart Labels is an app that can go on the consumer phone that once it scans the product can tell a consumer detailed information on the product such as ingredients, instructions, certifications, and endorsements. This is playing to the environmentally conscious consumer. And then Pure Cycle Technologies partnership with P&G was to create a plant that will make products using recycled plastic utilizing a cutting-edge technology. And this is focusing on P&G's environmental sustainability goal. So they're pairing their technology factors with their goals. Continuing with the pestle analysis, we look at ecological factors. Reduce waste output for the environment is a focus. Approximately 25% of P&G facilities generate zero waste. There is a threat of raw material shortage that P&G should be aware of since they are in the production business. And there's also a desire for eco-friendly and environmentally sensitive products. Moving to legal factors, standards for pollution and greenhouse gas emissions for manufacturing are an issue that P&G should be aware of. And then changing environmental compliance standards in various countries is crucial to P&G because they are internationally so spread out. Moving on to P&G 5-force model. Defining the industry, P&G is in the consumer packaged goods industry, and 3 of P&G's main competitors include Colgate-Palmolive, Unilever, Church, and Dwight Company. We grouped these competitors in Table 2 based off of whether they are U.S. owned or non-U.S. owned, and based on their portfolio size. You will see that Procter & Gamble is a U.S. owned medium portfolio company. Table 3 is grouping the competitors based off of P&G's 10 product categories to see which competitors have the portfolio closest to P&G, and you'll see Colgate-Palmolive does. Underlying drivers of each force. Threat of entry into this industry is a medium threat. Economies of scale are an advantage. Large capital entry costs into the industry is an advantage. However, low switching costs between products is a disadvantage. Unless a consumer has a preferential brand, it's easy for them to switch from one brand or one competitor to the other. Threat of suppliers is a low threat because of the mastering of supply chains from these competitors. And social responsibility in its purchasing practices. Threat of buyers is a low threat because of strong marketing and notable brands, and e-commerce is making it possible for direct communication with consumers bypassing the buyers altogether. 5-force model continued. Threat of substitution is medium to strong. Most competitors are involved in many of the same product categories, and they're involved in products that are easily replicated. And then there's the low switching cost that's still there that can be a big disadvantage. So threat of competition and rivalry is strong due to product imitability, low switching cost, large product portfolios can be hard to manage, and then e-commerce is a threat. It can be an opportunity, but it can also be a threat because you want to be the company that successfully implements an e-commerce strategy that's sustainable. It's important to note that this industry is an oligopoly, so it is hard for new competitors to enter the industry. However, the competitors that are in the industry are very competitive. Overall industry structure and competitive environment is challenged with rising material costs, commodity costs, transportation costs, and exchange rates. E-commerce is a threat, but it also can potentially be an opportunity. And then there's an increased competition, and it is always a continuous threat among various brands in the P&G portfolio. P&G core competencies include consumer understanding, product innovation, economies of scale, go-to-market capabilities, which means reaching retailers and consumers at the right place and right time, and brand names or marketing. This is the P&G VRIO analysis matrix. It was determined that consumer understanding and economies of scale are at a temporary competitive advantage right now, whereas product innovation, go-to-market capabilities, and brand name marketing are at a sustained competitive advantage. The reason consumer understanding and economies of scale are a temporary competitive advantage is because it's not rare within their industry to have these. And for consumer understanding, with new younger buyers coming in and developing countries coming in, they need to be extra sure that they can sustain their consumer understanding. For many years they've been known in this, but it's a dynamically changing capability, and they need to make sure that they're on the forefront of this understanding with the new consumers coming into play. P&G value chain. P&G has a very generic value chain. As you'll see, they're involved in many primary activities and secondary activities. primary activities including supply chain management, production and operations, distribution, marketing and sales, and customer service. Secondary activities, some of the big ones are research and development, accounting and finance, human resources, legal, and IT. P&G current strategy, their business level strategy is differentiation. Their corporate level strategy is product market diversification with focus on related linked diversification. Their international strategy, it's important to note that they are in roughly 180 countries, and they started out with an international strategy, moved to global standardization, and are currently in a transnational strategy. P&G's strategy implementation, this is an image of P&G's current organizational structure. The global business units are the 10 product categories that make up P&G's products, and they are units that are solely focused on selling those 10 product categories. The market development organizations are focused on the regions, so Procter & Gamble groups the countries that it sells to in large regions, and market development organizations is responsible for focusing on strategies to sell to these regions. So it's very much a matrix structure with regional areas being a strong focus in one regard and product being focused on another regard. Global Business Services utilizes the P&G talent and expert partners to provide best-in-class business support services at the lowest possible cost to leverage P&G's scale for a winning advantage. And lean corporate functions ensure ongoing functional innovation and capability improvements. P&G performance breakdown. P&G's product categories are grouped into 5 large categories in Figure 3A, showing their percentage breakdown of net sales for each product category. You'll see that fabric and home care, and then category baby, feminine, and family care had the largest net sales. P&G groups their global markets into 6 large regions, and Figure 3B shows their percentage breakdown of net sales, with North America and Europe bringing in the most amount of net sales. And Figure 3C shows the breakdown of P&G's business in developed versus developing countries, or otherwise referred to as their market maturity. And P&G does most of their net sales in developed markets of 65%, whereas developing markets make up only 35% of net sales. This is a performance analysis with some important financial ratios. Under the time column, TTM stands for traveling 12 months, and MRQ is most recent quarter. An important note before we look any further is that the high ratios of return on equity and total and long-term debt to equity for the industry seem alarming and may be skewed by high debt levels for some of the firms in the industry. So some of the large 500-600% we believe are skewed. P&G's return on equity at 19.84% seems decent. It looks like P&G also has a decent debt to equity leverage ratio. Some of the ratios that were concerning to us is that P&G has a low current ratio than the industry, which is concerning, and P&G has a quick ratio below 1 and below the current industry. A rule of thumb is that a quick ratio greater than 1 means that a company is sufficiently able to meet its short-term obligations. A low and or decreasing quick ratio might be delivering several messages about a company. So we thought that it was very concerning that not only was P&G's quick ratio lower than 1, but it's much lower than the industry. A 5-year trend analysis of P&G's performance compared to the industry for profitability ratios indicates that P&G's gross margins and net profit margins are better than industry average, but the return on equity, return on investments, and return on assets are all underperforming the industry's 5-year average. So overall, P&G is keeping up with industry, but is not excelling. Diagnosis of P&G's performance. From the analysis of P&G, it is determined that P&G, while still considered a major player in the consumer goods industry, is currently at a sustained competitive disadvantage within its industry. We put in a SWOT analysis here, focusing on the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We took the key inputs for these and we looked at why P&G was seeing a sustained competitive disadvantage. Partly this is due to an aggressive acquisition strategy in the 2000s, which led to a revolving door of CEOs. Also, too much focus has been put on the domestic U.S. market rather than inventing new category-defining and market-defining products domestically or internationally. They are not keeping up with the online market growth, losing touch with the new generation of consumers, and complexities of large economies of scale and complex matrix structure may be more costly than efficient for P&G. We'll move into the formulation or formulating feasible solutions for Procter & Gamble. Business strategy solution: to create value innovation, P&G should eliminate their aggressive acquisition strategy, which they have already done. They now need to eliminate the revolving door of CEOs and top executives and settle in with a consistent CEO who is willing to make the appropriate changes necessary. They also need to eliminate matrix management structure, make it more streamlined, more understandable, and more focused. P&G needs to reduce the number of sector business units, or basically their product categories, from 10 product categories to 6. Even focus them more. And each sector business unit should have its own CEO responsible for direct sales, product innovation, and supply chain for the largest global market regions. This will help P&G's corporate function shift to about 50% of corporate work to the new SBUs, making for more efficient operations. P&G should raise the corporate research and development program to innovate new sector business unit products and potentially new industry products. P&G's awareness and consumer understanding of a new generation of consumers should be raised. Focus P&G's presence on large emerging economies and raise the e-commerce strategy and platform for SBUs in all international markets, making it cost-effective to pursue. P&G should also create a network of partnerships with other e-commerce giants to sell P&G brands. So if they cannot make the platform that is successful or largely successful, and they need to partner, it's better than letting another company get a head start on them or letting an e-commerce giant like Amazon take their sales away. So they also need to look at creating partnerships until they can have a sustained advantage in e-commerce platform. Corporate strategy solution, we think, is tapered integration. P&G is currently not showing that it is more efficient at organizing economic activity than the current industry market. Taper integration along the industry value chain seems ideal. They could look into backwards integration as a last resort, but we did not think that this was necessary. They have such a large value chain that taper integration would help just to eliminate some of the complexities of a large economies of scale. I've listed the value chain stages that P&G is involved in from stage 2 to stage 5. And then we've shown the Connect Plus Development Program, which is a program developed by P&G that they have implemented, and since implementation, new products originated from outside P&G increased from 15% to 35%. This program helps initiate partnerships to meet today's needs across the P&G business for product, technology, in-store, e-commerce, and supply chain. So P&G has already developed a program that can help them do taper integration. They just need to optimize this, find when is the most appropriate to use this, and when they should do a stage themselves. P&G must adjust or integrate its value chain in accordance to best practices for each of its new sector business units that will be individually managed. P&G International Strategy Solutions, the first thing is to focus on large developing countries for new sales. The second is each SBU can and should take a dynamic global integration responsive strategy that works for that specific sector business unit or product category in the various global market regions. Some product categories may do better in a certain region with a different integration strategy. And that is why this sector business unit is more efficient, because that's their sole focus is to sell this product. No matter where the region is, they need to sell this product, so they will determine those best strategies. Moving into implementation, we wanted to cover 2 quick things for Procter & Gamble. P&G is an organic organization. It's also currently under a matrix management structure. P&G should switch to a more focused, multi-divisional or M-form structure with sector business units, as we've discussed previously. And finally, P&G's shared values. P&G has established corporate social responsibility through its goals. P&G is working on and focused on increasing its profit and is receiving pressure from its stakeholders. to create shared value, P&G will need to further connect its societal and economic needs by bringing in new consumers, similar to bringing in new generations, and focus on creating new regional clusters or expanding into developing countries. These are our references that we have used throughout this presentation. We appreciate your time, and we thank you for watching.